Tonight, we begin with a royal crisis that has Meghan Markle, Buckingham Palace, insiders, and royal correspondents shaken, speculating, and urgently monitoring. A secret revelation that unfolded not over months, but in a single day. One day that shook the foundation of the royal family. One day that forced Meghan's legal team into action. One day that exposed hidden tensions between the Sussexes and the palace. What Lady Camilla did today crossed a line that Buckingham Palace had hoped would hold. And when that line broke, Meghan's team did not hesitate. They responded with urgency, precision, and a clear warning. For 8 months now, there had been whispers, not palace statements, not official announcements, just whispers that Lady Camilla was preparing something uncharacteristically bold. Camilla has been diplomatic, yes, but she has been strategically ambitious in her public role. Her moves have followed a certain pattern, a careful alignment with the media, a deliberate shaping of public perception, almost a royal chess game. But what set off alarm bells in Buckingham Palace this morning was that the pattern changed. Royal correspondents who monitor every public appearance and private meeting know the indicators. The sudden increase in Camilla's one-on-one interviews, the delay in palace responses to Meghan's requests, the unusual silence from the Queen's press office, the sudden silence, and whenever Lady Camilla goes quiet, it means something is about to get very loud. Early this morning, palace insiders detected what they described as a coded media hint, including a carefully placed comment in a radio interview that had not been cleared by the palace communications team in over a decade. These are the kinds of subtle media moves that Lady Camilla only deploys when she is signaling something very specific, an imminent official announcement about Archie's future role. A shift in the royal hierarchy that sidelines Meghan. A personal reconciliation between the Sussexes and the palace, or a final breakdown. Royal analysts didn't know which category this fell into or whether it fell into all three at once. But what they did know was that Lady Camilla was changing her public posture. And when a senior royal shifts strategy without explanation, even by a single word, Buckingham Palace pays attention. The statement issued by Buckingham Palace tonight was not normal. It was not routine. It was not symbolic. It was urgent. Sources close to the palace, after an emergency council meeting, described Lady Camilla's move as provocative, calculated to provoke Meghan, dangerous, because it risks a public showdown that could destabilize the entire royal brand. But Lady Camilla's strategy only works if the target hesitates. Meghan's team did not. In fact, their response today was among the most decisive we've seen in modern royal history. Here's what we know. Within hours of Lady Camilla's radio comment, Meghan's legal and communications team issued a formal demand for clarification. These weren't the polite inquiries of the past. These were legal-backed ultimatums, systems and tools that Meghan's team only deploys when they are preparing for a high-stakes public defamation case. Tonight, multiple sources confirmed that Meghan's team launched a coordinated legal and media offensive on 3 key targets, including a senior palace advisor who had recently been promoted for what analysts believe was to mediate tensions between the Sussexes. Meghan's team struck before Lady Camilla could counter. They hit Target 1, the palace's lead spokesperson, who had been briefing journalists about Camilla's harmless comments. Target 2, a charity closely linked to Camilla, which had recently been granted a royal patron, a move seen as a power play to elevate Camilla's public image. Target 3, a freelance journalist who had been preparing an exclusive story for a tabloid, allegedly paid by Camilla's allies to paint Meghan as uncooperative. In other words, Meghan's team targeted the strategic backbone of Camilla's move, the communications hub that would have made it operational. This is what made Buckingham Palace's warning so urgent. Lady Camilla's hint wasn't just symbolic, it was actionable. It represented the kind of move that could trigger a constitutional crisis inside the royal brand if left unchecked. And Meghan's team, understanding that fully, responded with force, not recklessly, not impulsively, but strategically. They didn't ignore the threat, they didn't issue a vague statement. They hit the right targets hard. And here's where the story becomes even more explosive. Sources now believe that Lady Camilla's latest move was designed to test the resolve of Meghan's team after the recent media setbacks faced by the Sussexes. Camilla wanted to see whether Meghan's team would back down, whether they were still the powerhouse force they were in 2020. But instead, the opposite happened. Buckingham Palace didn't hesitate. They launched a counteroffensive that was so precise, so calculated, that even Lady Camilla noticed. You don't get a queen consort's attention easily. But today, Meghan's team did. Royal analysts speaking with BBC News under anonymity described Meghan's shift as a defensive fortress, a way to protect her family and brand at all costs. But Buckingham Palace proved today that they remain both unwavering and unbeatable. Their actions were not only strategic, they were surgical so precisely that they neutralized Camilla's entire media plan within 12 hours. That precision matters because it shows that Meghan's team is not on the defensive, they are on the offensive. As reports continued coming in throughout the day, we learned more about the scale of Meghan's team's response. Meghan's PR firm carried out a press release, forcing global media to retract Camilla's comments. Meghan's lawyers targeted a key document that had been leaked in the last 48 hours, a draft letter allegedly showing Camilla's plans to assume a new public role. A senior royal advisor, operating from Windsor Castle, reportedly shut down a private meeting used by Camilla to coordinate her media strategy. This wasn't just a legal dispute. This wasn't just a PR battle. This was a full-scale royal intelligence operation. This was a power grab. And a power grab is the one thing Lady Camilla has struggled to maintain since she became queen consort. For every gain she has made, Meghan's team has countered with something that undermines her authority. Remember, Lady Camilla thought three things. She thought Meghan would remain silent in the face of pressure. She thought the media would side with the palace. She thought the public would forget the Sussexes. But tonight, the exact opposite is happening. Meghan is fighting back harder than ever. The media is demanding answers. The public is rallying behind the Sussexes. What makes this moment so critical and so dangerous is that Lady Camilla's latest move happened at a time when King Charles is under immense pressure. MPs want transparency over the cost of the royal family. Republicans are pushing for a referendum on the monarchy. The royal brand is losing favor with younger generations. King Charles is balancing these demands while navigating a marriage that's on the brink. And when leaders in that position make sudden moves, they're not doing it from strength, they're doing it from vulnerability. Buckingham Palace's statement, now circulated to all UK media, was designed to signal that the palace is not willing to tolerate a fractured royal brand. Officials said plainly that Lady Camilla's actions were inconsistent with the unity and respect expected of all members of the royal family. That is code language for, back off, or we will go to war. You don't usually hear that tone from the palace unless something serious is at stake. Meanwhile, Meghan's representative addressed the press in a firm, unflinching speech tonight. She said, "Our family deserves the same privacy and respect as any private citizen. Any further attempts to weaponize media for personal gain will be met with full legal consequences. The public has had enough of royal games. We will not be silent. This is not just about us. It's about the integrity of the institution." These are not rhetorical flourishes. These are statements from a team that understands just how high the stakes have become. Here's what makes the situation even more concerning. Lady Camilla's latest move wasn't isolated. Along with her radio comment, a senior royal aide also leaked a private email from Meghan to the press. A pro-Camilla blogger published a defamatory post about Meghan's charity work. A palace-linked PR firm increased its social media attacks targeting Meghan. All of this happened within the same 24 hours. When Lady Camilla moves multiple pieces at once, it means something larger is underway. Analysts are now considering several possibilities. One is that Lady Camilla is preparing to assume a dominant public role, sidelining Meghan. Another is that she is attempting to force King Charles to choose sides. A third possibility, the one worrying officials the most, is that she is attempting to permanently erase Meghan's influence, once and for all. But today, Meghan's team took that card off the table. They didn't back down. They didn't negotiate. They didn't appease. They struck back. What we're watching now is a test of royal resolve. Lady Camilla wants to see if Meghan's team still has the firepower. Meghan's team wants to show they will not be bullied. Buckingham Palace wants to prevent a public war that could destroy the monarchy's reputation.